Hey guys, welcome to another... Ever since I began my Tower Defense X YouTube deep dive series, mini-series thing, I have been getting lots of recommendations for TDS lore, both from YouTube's recommended and people in the comments asking me to talk about it. And, well, honestly, I was pretty curious, so I decided to just kind of check it out, watch some videos, play through stuff, watch trailers, all those things, and I've come away very confused. Because, well, yes, Tower Defense Simulator has been... it's had like a very recent effort of including a lot more lore in the things that it does. It just makes no sense to me. Legitimately, it makes no sense. It's so confused. It's so, like, out there. Like, the more that I think about it, the more the whole story narrative thing that they're trying to tell just falls apart. It's not very conducive. It's not very good. And I'm not here to compare Tower Defense X and TDS lore. Lord knows enough people do that already. Enough people compare these games as it is. I'm not here to do that. I'm just here to tell you, like, all the things that I've seen of TDS lore, why to me it makes legitimately no sense at all. And I guess and ask, like, if you play TDS a lot more than I do, because I don't really play this game that much, please enlighten me what I'm missing. But I think I have a pretty good idea of what they're trying to do. It just doesn't really work because it's so all over the place. Anyways, so let's start from the beginning here. So since the Tower Defense Simulator Violent Night event, I believe it was the Violent Night event, Tower Defense Simulator has been it's had like this background narrative. There's been this overarching antagonist known as the Lord Exo, and he has this really powerful artifact known as the Fortnite God Cube thing. It probably has a real name, but the community knows it either the Fortnite Cube or the God Cube. So basically, he uses this cube to basically control people, kind of brainwash them, force them into his servitude. And for the last few events, and more recently in the last few game modes, we've seen fragments or pieces of the Lord Exo's cube, or just the Lord Exo himself doing things, just kind of in the background, scheming and plotting and doing all sorts of things. And it's implied that he is the influencing, overarching antagonist of Tower Defense Simulator. That's been there since the beginning, guys. And they really try and hammer that home with the cube appearing everywhere. So we are led to assume that in the Lunar Overture event, Lord Exo's cube was found by the narrator, ringmaster guy, I forgot his name, gave it to Umbra. Umbra kind of found it and then became the Umbra as we see her. And then at some point the crystal shattered and it just kind of went to all these different places, which really makes no sense, because if you think about it, this implies that Lunar Overture, which understandably Lunar Overture would probably be the first event on this timeline here. Let's make like a timeline of TDS. Lunar Overture is the first question mark, but it can't be. Lunar Overture can't be the first because Lunar Overture has undead zombies in it. And the undead aren't meant to come around until intermediate mode. You see, intermediate mode shows us the origins of the zombie apocalypse. And before you say, oh, it just shows us the origin of the mutations, no, the badge for this mode literally says that this is the root of the apocalypse. It's not just the root of the experiments, it's the root of the zombie apocalypse with Patient Zero. Now, Patient Zero, assumably used to work for whatever army that TDS is, but then he just went crazy and did his thing. However, he only was able to do his thing with a Lord Exo shard, which shouldn't exist unless the God Cube exploded, but it can't explode because there's undead back then, but the undead only came about because of intermediate mode. Already we're seeing the problem here. So let's just try and picture this. So intermediate mode technically has to be first, canonically, lore-wise. Or not at least, it can't be first, but like intermediate mode has to exist first. At least the trailer, like showing like the zombie apocalypse starting. You don't necessarily have to fight him first, that's not what I'm implying, but like the events of intermediate modes like trailer where like he becomes the monster thing has to happen first for things like the Gravedigger to come into fruition. Let's not even talk about what Molten mode is supposed to be. We're going to ignore that because it's going to get revamped, so completely ignoring what Molten mode is right now. Fallen mode. Once again, we have this other weird thing where it's the Lord Exo cube shard is found and brought to the Fallen King. And then we have Fallen Hazmat here. He's the guy bringing the shard to the Fallen King. And he says, "Are you ready to start the apocalypse again?" Implying that there was an apocalypse before, and the Fallen King has been fought and experienced before. And now that they have the Lord Exo shard thing, they're able to do it again. However, I mean, I guess there are other like interpretations of this. What could be the case is, oh well, Fallen King, you fight him normally, and then this trailer happens in between Fallen mode and then Hidden Wave, where you defeat the Fallen King, even though you see him freaking die. You see him explode into a pillar of light. He somehow survived that, returned to their little church, and then got Fallen Hazmat to find him a little crystal so that he could be possessed and awakened by Lord Exo in a Hidden Wave, not Awakened mode. I'm so stupid. So if that's the case, then what the heck is hardcore supposed to be? Is hardcore supposed to take place after? Well, I don't think hardcore really even is meant to factor into anything right now. It has to be reworked because, like Molten mode, it's really old. There's no real place for the Molten boss, the lava people, or really, what's his face? Void Reaver. So I'm completely discounting them, even though there's probably some deeper role to play with them. Whatever. They were made before TDS started actually caring about lore, so they don't have to fit into the narrative that they're trying to create here. And once again, let's go back to that Violent Night. What the heck? Where the heck is Violent Night supposed to take place in this theoretical timeline? The elves were manipulated by the Lord Exo. How? Where? When? Is this meant to happen before Lunar Overture? Because Lord Exo is there, and he seems to have the full cube. But it can't be, because Lunar Overture is this really old, like, place. At least chapter 1, it takes place, like, it seems to be like in almost medieval times. It's almost like we've traveled back. The narrator is giving us nostalgia, which means he's sending us back to a different time. He's letting us re-experience those events that happened a long time ago. So that's super far in the past. Even though Umbra technically shattered the cube then, except she didn't. The cube was still around until we defeated the narrator, who just has the cube. It makes no sense. It legitimately makes no sense. And where does this place like all the other things? Because then we have Krampus. Krampus, he has a shard of it. How? When? Where did he get it? Did he get it after, did he just find it, like, after he was defeated in 2020? And if he did, then how and where? Like, is this meant to happen, like, before everything else? Because it seems like the timeline is essentially, like, Frost Invasion is, like, first, and then the Krampus one, and then the Christmas one, Violent Night, then Krampus's Revenge, where he actually gets the cube, except before all of that, we have the first Halloween thing. I am so like, I don't know if it sounds like I'm being like stupid or I'm spiraling here, but I genuinely trying to piece together what the order of events of these events are is really, really, like, it's headache inducing. Like, people who, like, legitimately think about this, like, how do you compute this? It's so confusing. Like, I am genuinely struggling to comprehend the full scope of whatever timeline thing they're trying to do here. Now, maybe this new Halloween event will rectify all that. The Halloween events tend to be a lot more lore focused than the Christmas ones. So maybe there'll be some crazy, insane detail that completely fixes all of this for us, but it's so confusing, dude. Legitimately, I have no idea what's going on. So if you have any idea what's happening, please enlighten me. So this is almost like a cry for help, almost. So yeah, that's really just all I wanted to talk about in this video. I'll have more better, like, Halloween themed spooky videos coming soon. I just wanted to talk about this, so that's really all I have. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye. Man, this tower defense stuff, it's really hard, guys. You know, like, I don't really know how you do this. This is, like, really difficult, guys. Anyways, I'm gonna play a real game now.